So this is the last chapter in our physics
Yeah.
sound. So first, if we have to define what is sound, we can say this is just a form of energy, right?
Yeah.
This is a
Yeah.
form of energy. And what form of energy? That produces sensation of hearing.
Okay. I can't
It
see the
produces
screen.
sensation of hearing.
Hello. Yeah, I can't see the screen.
Okay, so here talking about sound, as we know this is a form of energy, we will be
Hello.
talking about the production of sound,
Hello.
how sound is produced, and then we will see how sound is propagated. We will talk about the propagation of sound, and then finally
Hello.
we will see the human anatomy of human this ear.
Hello.
So we'll see the complete
Hello.
description about what are the components, what are the parts of ear, and how we can finally hear the sound. So
Hello.
talking about production, could you try to justify how sound can be? The scientific method behind the production of sound, we can say it is produced by vibration.
Yeah.
So by vibration in the medium that contains particles. But normally if we say how sound is produced, we can say just by hitting two objects together a sound is produced. So during
Yeah.
that hit, what happens? One
The
of the
objects
object
start vibrating.
vibrates and that
Yeah.
creates a kind of to and fro oscillations, or you can to and fro motion. Both are
Yeah.
same, oscillation or to and fro motion. So it creates oscillation of particles in the medium, because whatever medium we will be talking about, that
Mm.
should contain particle, and then only sound could propagate through that medium.
Okay.
So we can understand sound waves. More specifically, we will call it as sound waves. This is a form of longitudinal waves. So we don't have to go through in detail about the types of waves, but additionally we can remember, because that will be helpful to us. Waves are of two types: transverse wave and longitudinal wave. So let me present a scenario here. Let us suppose we have a fixed wall. So this point is fixed and I have a rope attached to the wall. So what will happen if I create a disturbance here? Let us say I am holding with my hand and I am creating a disturbance. So I am raising it up and down. We will see some this kind of pattern moving to the left. So this pattern moving to the left, that indicates the propagation of wave, right? It indicates
Yeah.
propagation of wave. And if you observe the rope, these are the particles which are present in the rope. So these
Mm.
particles, they move up and down at all the points, they move up and down. So here this kind of wave is transverse wave, because the particles move perpendicular to the direction of wave propagation,
Mm.
right? So when particle moves perpendicular to the direction of wave propagation, that kind of wave we call it as transverse wave. So example
Okay.
of transverse wave, we have it here. For example, wave generated in string. String means a kind of rope, or even
Okay.
light waves are transverse wave. We will have a detailed idea about light waves, but in higher classes. Talking about longitudinal wave, here let me present a scenario and let us see why sound waves are longitudinal waves. Let us suppose this is person A and this is person B. So in between there is medium which contains particles. So let us say these are the particles in the medium. These are the particles in the medium. So what, let us
Yeah.
suppose A shouts or A produces the sound. So definitely B will hear it. So what will be the direction of propagation of sound? From A to B. This is the direction of
Yeah.
propagation. Now as A produces sound, it is more likely A has created disturbance around. So what will happen? These molecules will move forward, and
Yeah.
what these molecules present in layer 1, what they will do, they will hit the adjacent molecules in layer 2 and they will return back. Again what will happen? Same phenomena will be repeated. Level 2 molecules, they will move forward and they will hit the molecules present in level 3, or you can say layer 3. In this manner this will get repeated unless and until sound hits the eardrum of B. So here we can see how particles are vibrating. Here the particles were vibrating perpendicular to the direction of wave propagation, but here the particles are vibrating in the direction of wave propagation. That is what we call it as longitudinal wave. So
Okay.
here particles move, or basically it's good to say particles vibrate in the direction of wave propagation. Particles vibrate in the direction of wave propagation.
Mm.
So what is observed from here? Okay, that is right. Sound waves are longitudinal waves, but apart from this, what is observed? That sound can only propagate through a medium which contains particles. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So we can say sound requires material in the medium. Material means I am talking about the particles. If there would have been no particles in the medium, sound would not have traveled. Whereas we can see light can travel in a medium without particles. Light can travel in a medium without particles in the medium. So for example, if I say vacuum, so yes, light can propagate through vacuum, but
Yeah.
sound cannot propagate through vacuum. Sound cannot propagate through vacuum.
So
Why
basically, an
it cannot
example is
propagate through
space.
vacuum? Because it does not contain any particles in the medium. Vacuum does not have any particles or material in the medium. So sound requires material to propagate.
Hmm.
Okay, so based on this we have the classification of the medium as well. So let us classify the medium: mechanical and non-mechanical. Mechanical means medium containing particles, medium having particles. So sound waves, we can say they are mechanical waves as well, because it requires material in the medium to move. So it is mechanical wave. Okay, so moving ahead now.
Yeah.
So let us say we have a tuning fork.
Yeah.
This is a kind of tuning fork, and let us say I hold this end of the tuning fork and I hit it on a hard surface. So
Yeah.
this is the complete experimental observation. You will see that tuning fork vibrates. So if it vibrates, that means this end will move to and fro. The complete part of the tuning fork will move to and fro. As a result, it will create a disturbance in the surrounding, and it will
Yeah.
keep hitting the air molecules. Now the thing is that we cannot hear this vibration, because there are two possibilities. One, if you keep it far away, then the frequency which is reaching our ear, that is lost. But
Yeah.
if you try to bring it near the ear, what will happen? You can hear some vibrational sound, some humming sound. So that confirms it is hitting the air molecules in the surrounding, which is finally hitting our eardrum. So that's the final stage. We will be talking about the eardrums, all other internal composition of ear, like how the sound is creating the sensation of hearing. Okay, so this
Yeah.
tuning fork, what happens? It vibrates, and as it vibrates, what happens? It creates disturbance in the surrounding. It creates disturbance in the surrounding. Disturbance as in it allows the air molecules present all around it to vibrate accordingly, and as a result the air molecules vibrating at the end, here I mean those air molecules which is reaching our ears. So what happens finally? They hit the eardrums.
Yeah.
So they hit eardrums and we are able to feel the sensation of sound. So this is the complete process in which sound is created at this point, and sound travels through the medium. Sound is created and travels through the medium, and finally it reaches our ear. So the question is how sound is created, how I have created it. I have to observe this first part. By vibration of air molecules and the vibration of the medium material which is producing or which is creating the disturbance. So sound is produced by vibration. How does it travel? It travels through that medium which contains material within it, meaning it contains molecules within it. Okay.
Yeah.
So this propagation also we have learnt. So propagation, in short, we can mention propagation through medium containing particles. Okay. So once we have analyzed that sound waves are transverse wave, you can see how we have represented transverse wave. The pattern can be observed, but if we carefully observe the longitudinal waves, in this longitudinal waves what is happening? The point where sound is created or the disturbance is created, at that point air molecules are present. Here also air molecules are present, but as this sound hits this air particles in level 1, they move forward. So if they move forward, the arrangement will be somehow like this. So we can see earlier the material was or the medium was having uniform density. That means the particles were uniformly distributed. So initially the particles were uniformly distributed in the region. But now what happens? There are two different kinds of region we can see. After this, that is definitely true, the region is uniform, but here we get two distinct types of region. One where the concentration of particle is maximum, or you can say the density of particle is maximum, and here we can see that the density of particle is minimum or almost null. So density of particle is minimum. So these two regions, we give a name to these regions. They are compressions
and rarefaction.
And this region with minimum particle density, that is called rarefaction. Okay. So we can also say that sound propagates in the form of successive compressions and rarefactions.
Yeah.
Sound propagates through successive compressions and rarefaction. Now the question is, why I have written here sound propagating through successive compressions and rarefaction? Because what will happen, these level 1 particles, they will return here, and now the level 2 particle will move forth. So as a result, again, now here rarefaction will be created and here compression will be created. So we have just given the names for two different types of region. Let us define compressions and rarefactions. So compressions, we can say these are the region with high particle density, and then we have rarefactions. So on the contrary, we can say these are the region with low particle density. So let us observe here what is actually happening. We can see at this end, this is vibrating, this rod is vibrating, so it is first hitting the air molecules, and we can see how this compression is flowing. We can observe that the compression and rarefactions are consistently changing. So we have represented longitudinal waves and transverse waves. So we have seen this was a kind of transverse wave, and longitudinal waves, successive compressions and successive rarefactions we can clearly identify with respect to these lines. So if these lines are near, that means we are definitely talking about a region of high particle density. So here this is compression, this is compression, this is rarefaction. So we can observe compressions and rarefactions are alternative here. So here we can see different particles, they vibrate differently. So at some point of time this particle vibrates to the maximum distance, whereas the particle which is here, that is restricted. So we will not go exactly in detail about these particles motion because that's a kind of higher class, but what we will focus here is that the points, that point with maximum particle density, that is called compression, and here we will call that point as crest and this point as trough. So crests and troughs are the points representing the maximum displacement that a particle can undergo while it is vibrating. So it is to be noted that crests are similar to compression and troughs, they are similar to rarefaction, and that is the reason here we can observe as this compression is flowing, we can see that at any point of time this is a kind of pattern that we will observe, how compressions and rarefactions could be compared with crests and troughs. We also saw how crests and troughs look like, which include the concentrated particles, and in the region of rarefaction the particles were far apart. Okay, talking about characteristics of sound now. How a sound can be characterized, that we will see.
Yeah, I think by frequency, amplitude, time period, wavelength, all those things.
So we will remember the three properties using which I can characterize a sound. That means we can identify a sound. One, frequency. Another, amplitude. And then number C, that is the speed. Okay, we also have one more characteristic, that is time period. So let us define each one of them. Frequency, as the name suggests, it is the number of oscillations per unit time.
Yeah.
So for example, let us take a detailed example to understand frequency. Let's say a boy goes from home to, let's say, a cake shop, and the boy takes 50 seconds, and in this 50-second boy goes to cake shop and returns to home 5 times. How many times boy completes his journey? 5 times. So in this case, if I want to find frequency, it will be 5 times divided by 50 seconds, that is 1 by 10. So frequency in this case will be 0.1.
Okay.
And what will be the unit of frequency? You can see this is 5 times and this was seconds. So it will be
Yeah.
0.1 per second. So we give this per second a name that is called as hertz.
Yeah.
Hz. So now what do we understand by this frequency? That means 5 times, to oscillate 5 times, or to go to the home and return to the shop like this, to continue this journey 5 times, the boy took 50 seconds. So to complete the same for one time, the boy will take 10 seconds. This is what we mean. Now the thing is, what is time period? This we call it as time period. So in short, you can say time period is the time taken to complete one oscillation.
Yeah.
So this is the time
So 10 seconds.
to complete one oscillation. So here that is clear in this example. 5 times
Yeah.
it took 50 seconds. For one time it took 10 seconds. So this 10 second is the time period, and this is just a regular time taken for 5 times. Now the thing is, if we have the expression of frequency as number of oscillations per unit time, we can have one more expression for frequency. When the number of oscillation is 1, that time is called time period. So this complete expression we will remember. That's the relation between frequency and time period. Not only this, but also we will remember the basic definition of frequency, that is n by t.
Yeah.
Now moving to the next two things, amplitude and the speed. Speed is very much obvious here. It represents the speed of propagation of wave. So how fast or how slow the wave is moving. So let me denote speed by V, time period by capital T, frequency we denote by F, and amplitude by A. And also the last characteristics that we have here is wavelength, represented by the symbol we call it as lambda.
Okay.
So if we observe a wave, for this wave, the distance between two consecutive crest, not any two crest, but the distance between two consecutive crest, or even two consecutive troughs, or even the distance between two similar points. So if I take this point, I should take this point. What is this point indicating? The final half part of first wave. Then I should correspond to the final half part of second wave. So how can I define wavelength now? As the distance between two consecutive crests or troughs.
Okay.
Amplitude. What is amplitude? Let us look here only. We can see at different instants of time, particles are having different displacements. So that particle which is having maximum displacement, that maximum displacement we call it as amplitude.
Okay.
So amplitude is the maximum displacement.
Amplitude can also be called as the loudness.
And finally we have the relation between wavelength, frequency, and wave speed, represented by V. So we have just now seen that wavelength is the distance between two successive crests or troughs. Okay, let me take time period as of now. T, we saw it was the time taken to complete one wave, and V is the speed. So how can I relate distance, speed, and time? Speed is equal to distance by time. We have been knowing this expression since childhood.
Yeah.
Now speed V, distance is corresponding, it is lambda is corresponding to distance, and T is corresponding the time.
Yeah.
So this we get as the relation relating lambda, V, and T. So we also know that F is
T
1
is
by
1
T.
by F. Yeah.
So here if I replace 1 by T, I'll write V as lambda times F. So in short, we will remember this expression. Wave speed is wavelength times frequency. Other equation which is important is frequency is the reciprocal of time period, not the time. This equation
Okay.
is also sometimes helpful. Frequency is number of oscillation per unit time, and the SI unit of frequency, that is hertz. And also these definitions we will remember. So these are the characteristics of sound we have to always remember: frequency,
Okay.
amplitude, speed, time period, and wavelength. Characteristics means I am talking about those properties which can distinguish one kind of sound from the other. So we'll begin with the very first question. How does the sound produced by a vibrating object in a medium
Hmm.
reach your ear? But in more detailed manner, we can say
Hmm.
how sound produced by a vibrating object in a medium reach our ear. So most obvious one would be through the medium. So now you have to describe through the medium what happens. So yes, through the medium, whatever particles are present, those particles vibrate, and as a result, in terms of successive compressions and rarefactions, sound reaches ears. So through successive compressions and rarefactions.
Yeah.
Number two, explain how is sound produced by the school
Hmm.
bell. That if we beat with
Hmm.
some substance to some kind of material, I'm talking
Yeah.
about the school bell here, what happens?
Hmm.
Whatever surrounding is present here, in the surrounding it will create a disturbance. So that
Yeah.
disturbance, it will disturb the surrounding as well as the molecules in the surrounding, and as a result, again successive compressions and rarefactions, through this sound will be produced. So overall there is some sort of vibration also. You will see that as you hit with a dash to this structure, we will see that it keeps on vibrating, right? So
Yeah.
more profoundly we need to talk about how sound is produced as a result of vibration of the object. Number two, why are sound waves called mechanical waves? Just now we discussed because
Yeah.
they
So
require
basically, mechanical waves
material in
require
the medium to propagate,
Yeah.
because they require material in the medium, or we can say the particles in the medium. Number three, suppose you and your friend are on the moon. Will you be able to hear any sound produced by your friend? No, sound requires material or particles in the medium. So on moon, because of lack of these particles, we will not be able to hear each other's sound. So
Yeah.
we can say lack of particles. Next one we can do.
Yeah. Okay. So
A
we can
sound wave
just
has a frequency of 2 kilohertz and a wavelength of 35 centimeter. How long will it take to travel 1.5 kilometers? So we have with us the frequency. Frequency is 2 kilohertz, so we have to write in SI unit. So 2000
Yeah.
hertz, and wavelength of 35 centimeter. This also in SI unit, 0.35 meters. How long will it take to travel this much distance? So how much distance it has to travel? 1500 meters. So the wave speed here will be lambda times f. So that will be 2000 times 0.35, and that will be 700 meter per second. So how long will it take to travel? That means we need to find time. Time is
Yeah.
distance by speed.
Hmm.
So distance given is 1500 meters and speed we found as 700 meter per second. So yes, the time taken in this case will be 2.14
15%. Yeah.
seconds approximately.
Yeah.
Just now we also saw the definitions of the characteristics of sound.
Hmm.
Wavelength, it is the
Wavelength is
distance. So
basically
shortly we will write
hmm.
wavelength is the distance between two successive, either we can say compression, or even if
Hmm.
we add rarefaction, that's also okay. So distance between two successive compressions and rarefaction, that is wavelength. Frequency, it is the number of waves, or you can say number of oscillations
Yeah.
per unit time.
Mm.
Talking about time period, it is the time taken to oscillate once.
Mm.
So time taken to oscillate or vibrate
Yeah.
once,
Mm.
or you can say the time taken to completely vibrate one time. And amplitude we just saw, that was the maximum displacement
Yeah.
that a particle will undergo when there is disturbance created. So maximum displacement that
Mm.
a particle has with respect to its mean position. Mean position means its original position.
Mm.
Second one also we don't need to analyze it more because it's very simple.
Yeah.
How are the wavelengths and frequency of a sound wave related to its speed? So speed is wavelength times frequency.
Yeah.
Number 3, we can do calculate the wavelength of sound whose frequency is 220 hertz and speed is 440 meter per second in a given. So what all things we have here? Frequency, very simple, 220 hertz, directly it's given. Speed is
Yeah.
given 440 meter per second. We have to
Yeah.
find wavelength, how they can be related. Wavelength f is equal to wave speed. So wavelength will be v by f, that is 440 by 220, and this is 2 meters. All are in SI unit, so yes, it will be 2 meters only. Next one we can do. A person is listening to a tone of 500 hertz sitting at a distance of 450 meters from the source of sound. What is the time interval between successive compressions from the source? Frequency as 500 hertz, sitting at a distance, remember this is the distance given, that is 450 meters from the source of sound. Let's say
Yeah.
this is the source of sound and person is standing here. Question is, what is the time interval between successive compressions from the source? Successive compressions from the source. So from here, this distance, talking about the sound, to find out the time, we will take this distance and the frequency. And
Mm.
also, although this distance is given or whatever distance is given, but once we have mentioned here that between, so if it is mentioned between two successive compressions or successive rarefactions, then time will be the time period, that will be the answer. So we don't need to care
Yeah.
about what is the
Mm.
distance,
Yeah.
unless and until we are not given to find out speed or any other thing. So its
Yeah.
answer will be time period, and we have the relation of time period with frequency as 1 by f. So 1 by
Point
500, that will be
zero zero
0.02.
zero two. No, point 002.
0.02 or 0.002
002.
second.
Yeah.
1 by 500 if we divide, that will be 0.002, this much hertz, or this much seconds, not hertz. We are
Yeah.
finding the time. So moving ahead for the last part, we talked
Mm.
about the characteristics of sound. So in
Yeah.
those characteristics, we saw those parameters which were required to completely describe the sound. So mainly we focused on the parameters of sound. So what all parameters we saw? Wavelength, frequency, time period, amplitude, wave speed, and we have also related them. So talking about the characteristics, here we are going to learn about two different characteristics. One is the pitch, other is quality. We also call it as timbre, and even the loudness.
Hello.
So
Hello.
if we talk about sound, we have two
Hello.
kinds of sound. One, either it can be high pitched sound or it can be low pitched sound. Whereas sound can also be distinguished in terms of loud sound or sound with very less loudness, or you can say feeble sound. So loudness, if we talk about, or let us see the pitch first. High pitched sound, that means a sound with very high frequency. sound with very high frequency. Low pitched sound means sound with very low
Very low
frequency.
frequency. Yeah.
Loudness, as the name suggests, its energy will be more. So
Yeah.
if we talk about, let's say, playing a song, when we raise up the volume, the sound becomes more and more louder. That means more and more energy, or the wave or sound, which is a form of energy, more and more sound is reaching our eardrums per unit time. Talking about the quality, that is
Yeah.
very much indicative with respect to this phrase only. We can easily distinguish between high quality sound and low quality sound. So there are multiple factors which could be associated with the quality. So the possibility could be that if the complete sound wave reaches, or if the source is not too far from the observer. So quality is very indicative, but for pitch we have to remember it is related to the frequency, and loudness is related to the energy. So that is also very true, that loudness is inversely proportional to the distance, but this is actually the exact expression. Loudness is inversely proportional to the square of the distance. We will see in the higher class that why this proportional with inverse of square, why it is variable, why it is related like this. But as of now we will remember, as the distance increases, loudness decreases.
So
Okay,
here this
for
sound
example,
loud.
if I have a speaker here producing sound, if I just go away from this source of sound, I would say that at point A the sound appeared to me as more louder as compared to point B. This is always a relative thing. Talking about pitch,
Okay.
if I even want to represent high pitched sound, I can represent like this. So that should also be understood, let us say from 0 to 10 seconds, and here I am drawing 0 to 10 seconds. That's very much indicative that this sound is having high frequency. So we will see more such things in the next class. Let us just summarize in short,
Yeah.
indicating the main points that we learned.
Hello.
Talking about the sound,
Hello.
we saw sound wave was
Hello.
longitudinal wave. We also categorize the types of waves. So this is most important as per our syllabus. Sound is longitudinal wave. So why it is longitudinal? We also saw the reason behind this, that there was successive compressions and rarefactions, because of which the sound could propagate in the medium. So we have talked about propagation while we analyzed sound as longitudinal waves. Whereas we also focused on the production of sound waves, and that was very much simple. Sound is produced as a result of vibration. And apart from this, we saw the properties of sound, the characteristics in fact. What all characteristics we have seen? In this characteristics, first we have focused on different parameters which could define the sound completely: lambda, f, v, t, and capital T, as well as amplitude. Now the relation which was important here was f is equal to 1 by t and v is equal to lambda times f, and also f is equal to n by t. Sometimes it is used. So these all things we learnt in today's class. In the next class we will complete the rest portions of the sound.